The Projects feature on iSpot allows you to group together a set of observations that are of interest to you. For instance, you could group together all the observations for a particular set of species, or you could look at all the species for a particular site, and various other options. To add a project, log on to iSpot and go to the Add menu. Choose Project. For this example, we'll set up a project that looks at all the observations for a particular site. To demonstrate this, we'll use the Studland Heath area in Dorset. So the first thing we need to do is give our project a title. Next, you can add some text to explain what your project is about and why you've put it together. The next section allows you to attach an image or a photo for your project. Note that this is an image for the project as a whole. This isn't really intended to be an image of the wildlife that you want to include. That comes in later. So here, for instance, you could add a logo if your project applies to a particular organisation, or you could add a photo of the site in question. But you don't have to have a photo here, and for now I'm going to leave that blank. The next section is all about defining the area that you want your project to collect observations from. If you leave this untouched, you'll be able to see observations from all around the world on iSpot, but many projects prefer to focus on a particular area. For instance, if you wanted to see all the observations from the United Kingdom and Ireland, you can click on the rectangle tool and draw a box around the country. And if we were to save our project now, we'd be picking up all the observations that fall within the box we've just drawn. However, for our example, I want to focus in a bit more closely than that, so I need to get rid of the box I've just drawn. It's not immediately obvious how to do this, but there is a way. You need to click on the Stop Drawing tool, the hand icon, and if you now click somewhere within the rectangle, you'll get a dustbin symbol, and if you click on that, it will delete the rectangle that you've just drawn. Okay, so we're now in a position to find the site that we actually need, and we can do that just by dragging the map and zooming in, either by clicking on the button or by using the mouse wheel. That will also help you zoom into the map. Once you've found the area that you're interested in, you have the option of either using the Google Map background, or you can switch to the satellite view to actually show an aerial photo, which may allow you to be more precise in drawing the boundaries around your site. Having zoomed in to the site that you're interested in, you can either draw a rectangle around the entire area, or you can click on the circle tool and put a circle around the area if that fits more conveniently, or you can draw a shape which allows you to precisely outline the boundary of the site that you're interested in, and we'll try doing that in our example. So we click on Draw a Shape, and we now click on the map or the aerial photo, and you can click as many times as you need to outline the boundary of the site that you're interested in. When you've gone all the way around the site and have arrived back at your starting point, you can double click to complete the boundary and turn the border into a site polygon. Having drawn your boundary, you may feel that you want to edit it to make it a bit more accurate, and the way to do that is to click back onto the Stop Drawing button, and if you now hover over one of the white dots that you've added to the map, you can click on there and drag the dot to a different place. And the grey dots allow you to click on a new point to make your line have an extra bend or curve or angle in it, so that you can align it to exactly the position that you want. If you make a change here and then realise you didn't mean to make that change, you also have an option to undo the latest change. When you're happy with your site boundary, click back on the Stop Drawing button. So we've now set the geographical area for our particular project. We can now move on to look at the other filters that are available. There are a whole range of these. You probably won't want to use all of them at any one time, but there's lots of different possibilities for filtering out the particular set of observations that you want to see. If you click on the first option, Filter by Group, this shows you the major taxonomic groups that iSpot works with. So for instance, you could click on plants if you wanted to include just all the plants in your project, or you can choose more than one of these at a time. So perhaps we want to look at plants and fungi and lichens. So to do that, if you press Control and then click another group, you can make a selection of several groups at one time. If you decide that's not what you need, you can click on Clear Selected to go back to the starting point. So that allows you to choose one of the broad taxonomic groups on iSpot, but you can be more specific than that by going to the next filter, Filter by Taxonomy. Here you can choose either a scientific name or a common name for a particular species if you just wanted to be able to map one species in your project, or alternatively, if you know the family name or the order name for the group of species that you're interested in, you can type that in. For instance, if we wanted to see all the white and yellow butterflies that are in family Pieridae for our project area, we can start typing in the name and then choose it from the drop-down list. It's worth clicking on Get Recommended at this point. Sometimes that will fill in the common name for you, or vice versa. If you've put in the common name, it will fill in the scientific name, but otherwise it just makes sure that the name has linked correctly to the dictionary. In this case, there's no need to add a common name. We could just save this with Pieridae, and our project would then just be picking up all the white butterflies that have been found in the Studland Heath area. In fact, I don't want to do that for this example, so I'm just going to delete that Pieridae from the taxonomy filter. The next filter allows you to choose whether you want to show all the observations that fall within your project area, or just those that have been given a likely ID, a likely identification, or just those that have not yet received a likely identification. The next filter allows you to specify whether you want to see observations from a particular date range, and you can either do this based on the date that the observation was actually made in the field, or on the date that the observation was submitted to iSpot. Filter by habitat allows you to choose one or more of the habitats in the iSpot habitat list, and to choose more than one, it is again Control and click to add to the selection. And the final couple of filters, you can filter by a username just to show observations from a particular person, and you can filter by the descriptive tags that are added to the observations that people upload to iSpot. For instance, iSpot is sometimes used at BioBlitz events with a tag for a particular BioBlitz, and if you entered that tag here, you would find that the observations relating to that BioBlitz would appear in your project. So those are all the filter settings. Most people would only need to use one or two filters for a particular project, so it shouldn't take too long to fill those in, and you don't have to fill in any of them. You can leave them blank and just pick up all the observations for your project area. Finally, you have a choice to give a customized name for the web address that your project will be given. The URL is the web address that appears in your web browser when you go to a particular page. If you don't fill anything in here, iSpot will create a web address for you which you can use, but you might like to put something that is a bit more meaningful for the project in question. So by typing in Studland Wildlife at this point, the URL web address for this project page will have those words in it, which will make it a bit easier to remember. Once you're happy that the geographical area and the right filters are all set up the way you want them, you can click on the Save button. Your project has now been created, and you'll see at the top of your web browser that it's used the URL address that you typed into the box. You can see straight away that our project for Studland Heath is showing some observations. If you find that no observations are showing when you create your project, that will probably be because there haven't been any added for the particular area that you've chosen, or that you've used a set of filters for which there are no observations that actually match those filters. If you scroll down the project page, you'll see that you can add comments to your project, as indeed can other iSpot users as well, so that you can have a discussion about the project as a whole on the comments part of this page. You've also got some other options in the tabs across the top of your project. These give you alternative ways of looking at all the observations that do fall within your project. So you can see them as a list, or as a gallery, or displayed over the map of the area. On the map page, you can zoom in and see the precise location of the observations the closer you get to them. The final tab allows you to edit the project if it is your own project that you're looking at, and you can go back in and change the filters or change the site boundary as you wish. Once you've created your project on iSpot, it becomes publicly available and all other iSpot users will be able to see it, and you can see all the projects that have been created by going to Explore Community and choosing Projects. It's always worth having a quick check on the project page to see if a project has already been set up for the region that you're interested in. To see your own projects, the ones that you've actually added to iSpot, you can go to the Your iSpot area, click on the menu there, and if you go to projects in this menu, it just shows the ones that you've created yourself. The projects on iSpot provide a powerful way of grouping together observations that you have a particular interest in. Have a look through at all the projects that are listed on iSpot so far, and that'll give you an idea of the variety of possibilities that this feature offers you.